Welcome back. This is part two of self-improvement. Last week we did a good topic on this discussion. If you haven't seen last week's, you can go back and watch the replay. We're going to be touching up again self-improvement, what it is, how to stop denying it. I appreciate everybody that will come on tonight. You can check us out every Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And I am Chaz. I want to go ahead and introduce my other brother. He should be getting out of the bed real soon.
Go on with all that
stuff,
Chaz. I'm doing all right. You play too much, man. But you know, one thing I like about this broadcast is come rain, sleet, or snow, you're always prompt and on time. And I appreciate that. Even some of our audience, they show up at 6:10, 6:15, 6:30, 6:50. But I'm glad that you are a brother that's serious about talking about the serious issues. And tonight we're going to be talking about part two, as you mentioned, a journey of self-improvement. Let's see who we got in the house today, Chaz.
Okay. Brother Ray, comes on. Hey, Brother Ray.
All right.
Sister Mashana's on there. We appreciate you as well. Sister Marie, Sis Hotep, we appreciate her logging on as well.
Well, Chaz, let's talk about this thing because you mentioned earlier that we have a lot of information to talk about and we're not going to rush through it. So if we don't get done tonight, let's pick it up next week and let's finish it because you can never say enough about self-improvement, you know, because that's a subject that a lot of people don't like to deal with.
Real quick, I want to address Brother Ray. He has a comment, says, I was sexually assaulted by a colonoscopy procedure. Now, I don't know if he's serious or if he's playing. If he's either or, if it's serious, Brother Ray, we hope, you know, you're okay. If not, we just appreciate you for being on here, checking in with us as well.
You ready, Chaz?
Yes, sir. I'm ready to go.
All right, here we go.
Self-improvement should be foremost on all of our minds. Yes, all aspects, finances, our attitude, exercise, well, all these aspects should be important to us because you don't want to be stagnant year in, year out. You're getting worse. Your attitude's getting worse. You put no more weight. Your health is out of control. So, like I said, in every aspect, you should always want to improve. And listen, and I'll pass it to you. You shouldn't want to improve for another man, another woman,
Come on, Chaz,
or your aunt, or your uncle. This should be for you and nobody else.
Don't start that stuff, Chaz. But I hear what you're saying because this should be the first thing on all of our minds. Shouldn't we want to be better people? I mean, shouldn't we want to do things that are like-minded and things that are right? Shouldn't we want to check our attitude, our emotions? But Chaz, it seems like self-improvement is not the foremost on our minds because we're too busy in everybody else's business. And well, we are, and this is why we don't want to work on ourselves. And this is why this subject is so hot, because a lot of us don't want to touch this. We're too busy looking at everybody else's faults, as opposed to saying, hey, I'm not perfect. And since I know I'm not perfect, then that means I should start the process of working on myself, you see, because that's what it's all about.
Exactly. Brother Ray's on here again. He says,
well, they found no polyps in his actual in his situation, and that's a good thing. So he's working on himself by going to make sure that we get checked out, because us black men, we don't take care of ourselves, and so therefore we find out that we have polyps, and then sometimes it's too late. Sister Gloria says facts, so we appreciate her being on tonight. What about this one, Chaz?
Self-improvement should be, we just did that one. Everybody should be fighting something that we want to overcome in our lives. Yes. And I would say a lot of it is addictions. Some of us have harder addictions than others, and I'm not going to really get into them, but we all know what our addictions are. At some point in life, it's okay to struggle with it, fight it, struggle, but you should be able to get over the hump. Maybe it takes a year, 2 years, a month. We should be able to fight this thing off. And like I said earlier in other broadcasts, when you fight it off, do not go back to it, because when you go back to it, you're going to be in a terrible spot. So yes, we all should be fighting something. I'll just say this real quick. If you're not fighting nothing at all, you just sitting back having a good time, then I think you should reevaluate and check what's really going on in your life, because that's not a good sign.
The black man and the black woman, the African American man, the African American woman, the European man, the European woman, the Latino man, the Latina woman. We don't like to talk about self-improvement, Chaz. And we're not just talking about getting in shape physically. We're talking about mental, we're talking about spiritual, we're talking about psychological, we're talking about emotional. And this is why we're in the predicament that we're in. And I want to say this real quick, and I'll slow it down because I'm getting excited. We're always trying to do everything else but work on the self. And this is an indictment on all of us. I know I have problems. I'm the first one to admit I need to work on myself. But see, most of the times we're too busy looking at other people or running around the community, doing everything all over the world, and yet we're letting ourselves go down. And this is why a lot of us are struggling, because we don't want to work on that which we know. Chaz, you know you have issues. Yes. I know I have issues. But then why is it that we don't like to admit our faults and then work on them? See?
I think a lot of us, I think some of us have this complex about ourselves that we think our stuff doesn't stink.
Come on, Chaz. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Huh?
You come on. You say we think our stuff doesn't stink?
Well, most of us do, brother. Just look at us. If we got anything, especially material things, we think that puts us at a level that's just untouchable. And we just, like I said, especially in the African American community, we've lost it in that aspect. Sister Janie logs in. She says, "Hotep all." We appreciate her on this.
And I like what you just said, Chaz, because I think we need to slow the train down, and we really need to deal with us, because a lot of us don't want to talk about what we're talking about tonight. We know that we're liars. We know that we're cheats. We know that we're out of weight. We know that we're not eating properly. We know that we have attitudes.
Yes.
We know that we're lazy. We know that we're shiftless. We know that we procrastinate. We know that we have a lot of things going on inside of us. We're jealous. We're envious. Yes, we are, Chaz. We're jealous. We're envious. And we don't want to have these kinds of discussions. And this is why I sound like a broken record, because many of us know that we have problems, and yet we don't want to do anything about our problems.
Yes. Comment from Brother Ray says, "Can't change the world until you change yourself. In other words, clean your own house before you complain about a neighbor's eyesore. Or as the old folks say, sweep around your own front door before you worry about mine." So yes, Brother Ray is absolutely spot on, and we appreciate that comment.
Well, and I'm going to take that figurative expression and say it this way. We sweep around other people's front door, and then we throw the broom away because we don't want to sweep on around our own door.
Sister Gloria chimes in. She says, "So true." And then Brother Ray comes back at us. He says, "People who think they stuff don't stink don't bathe enough."
Yeah, all these figurative expressions is to say the truth about how, as a people, we have some problems. Now, Chaz, I want you to read this, and let's dive into this one.
2 downfalls of our own self-improvement. Give me 1 second, because I had wrote down something on that. Okay, here we go. 2 of the downfalls, I would say, number 1, it kind of touches on what you just said. We are jealous of other people's success.
Whoa.
It burns us out at a high rate. It adds stress to our mental. And then on top of that, especially if you're in the exercise field or trying to get in shape, you can injure yourself at that rate. Always trying to outdo the next man or next woman. That is a terrible spot to be in. And yes, it will put a lot of stress on your mind, because you're constantly, it's like your mind is on a hamster wheel. You can't stop thinking of this, thinking of that. And it's just a terrible spot to be in, brother.
And I want to talk about this one here. One of our downfalls is this. We all reflect upon what we want to improve, but we don't do anything about what we need to improve. In other words, I will come to you and say, "Chaz, you know, I'm a habitual liar. I have to change that," but I never work on that. Yes. So basically, I talk a good game, but I'm not willing to put the work in, see? I'm always telling you what I need to do, but I never do it. That's an indictment on us. Go ahead, what you was going to say?
And I'm going to say real quick, in the spiritual community, a lot of us, Christians, we want to read that Bible. The spiritual, we want to open these chakras. The Quran, we want to read these Qurans. Listen, you can read the Quran, you can open your chakras. You got to still get off your behind and do something yourself. Just praying and hoping that something falls out of the sky, your circumstances are going to change. That's impossible. You got to do something about it. And especially in the spiritual community, no matter what you believe in, we have that bad just praying and hoping that it just falls in our lap.
And this is the lazy man's and the lazy woman's way out, because we can ask a spiritual deity, we can ask a God, we can ask a Lord, we can ask Allah, we can ask Jesus, we can ask the Neteru, we can ask them to take all this stuff from us. But Chazz, a lot of this stuff, we know that we have to do this. And so we've been so brainwashed into thinking that something is going to come inside of us and change something. And it's us, man. It's us. And we're saying this out of love. But we have to have a tough discussion tonight. It has to be a tough discussion, because I'm sick and tired of us always saying, I know I got to improve this, whatever that this is. But we never work on that this. We are some of the biggest procrastinators, grown women, grown men, and we procrastinate so much. We're not serious about anything, most of us. We're just into what we're into, and this is why we don't like to improve.
Number two, there is a constant cover-up by most of us of our own self-improvement. Now, when I look down, forgive me, because I had put down a little bit of notes here. Let's see here. We are cover up. I'll let you take that one as I find my note, brother. Forgive me.
Yeah, okay. Now, because a lot of us, we just cover up. We try to cover up our faults. See, we're not honest and we're not forthright. And see, there is no honesty. There's no integrity. We want everybody to think that we're great. And so our children are just the way we are, because they've seen us all these years lie and make people think that we're great, on the phone talking about everybody else, always pointing fingers at everybody else, not realizing that we are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world today. Now, I know you talking. Go ahead, Chazz, talk to me.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick, especially if we bump into an old classmate or old relative we haven't saw in a while, we do try to cover that up instead of just saying, you know what, I'm a little stagnant, I'm okay, I'm just taking it easy, just doing the bare minimum. We want them to feel like, wow, 15 years ago, you doing this, brother, you on another level now. I mean, it's not about that. Instead of just keeping it real, just say, you know what, I'm just barely getting by, brother. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but we always want our old classmates or our old elders to think that we're doing better, and it's not about that.
Something has happened to us, and I know what it is. Because there's a war going on inside of us. There's a battle. And see, we have not fought the battle within, and therefore we cannot survive. But if we fight the battle within, we can survive anything. But if we're not willing to work on the self, we're just a lot of hot air, and that's what most of us are. And I'm talking about myself too, because all we want to do is run to other people. We want to run to the preacher. We want to run to the Pope. We want to run to the imam. We want to run to the spiritual guru. We want to run to a book. We want to run to a cassette. We want to run to a DVD and let other people tell us what to do. Chazz, you don't need to tell me what I need to do. I know what I need to do. And if I'm that silly that some other man, I got to lay on a couch and tell somebody what's wrong with me, then they tell me, well, here's your problem, Jahi. No, I know what my problem is. It's a cover-up. We want to cover up the issues that we're dealing with. And let's go ahead, Chazz. Go ahead, deal with this thing.
Real quick, I've noticed in the YouTube community, because I'm on it a lot, I'm constantly looking at stuff, and I noticed there's a lot of self-improvement videos, and when you click on 90% of them, it's just basic stuff that you should all know. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with if you're not knowledgeable in a certain area and you're trying to improve, okay. I'm talking about the self-improvement where this is just basic stuff that we all should do. And I look at the comment section, brother, and I feel sad. And I'm not trying to put these people down, bro. I feel sad for these people in this comment section that are saying, Brother James, help me out. This is just basic stuff you should have known when you were 14 or 15 years old. How is this profound?
It's immaturity what it is, you see. And this is why the cover-ups are the way they are. And there's so many cover-ups. In other words, when you ask me, Jahi, big brother, you've been talking about how you're going to stop procrastinating. Here it is, 3 years later, and your monkey behind still procrastinating. So you ask me, what happened? And so then this is what I'm going to do. Here are the cover-ups that we all know is true. Here's one of them. We start lying about improving our lives. We say this, oh, I don't have this problem. When we know we do, man. We know that we have to address these issues. And this is why the African-American community, and I'm speaking on us, on our behalf,
Right.
because that's who I'm a part of.
Right.
This is why there's so many issues within our circles, because most of us are liars. Now, I've got to
Yes.
come clean. We
Yes.
are lying through our teeth. We're still doing the same thing that we did when we were teenagers. And this shows that we have not matured. Everybody wants you to think they know all the answers. Well, Chaz,
Right.
all you
Right.
have to do is this. Oh, and we listen to these people, and this shows a weak mind, that if you have to tell me how to straighten up my lying, something's wrong with me, when I know all I have to do is tell the truth. That's what I have to do. Quit covering up by lying, saying, oh, I don't have that problem, Chaz. That's your problem.
Right. You said a mouthful. I don't have anything to say about that. You're 1,000% on the money on that one, brother.
Okay.
Brother Ray comes at us. He says, I don't try to be perfect because it means I would ignore corrections. Yes, absolutely. 100%. He's spot on as well. And I just want to take it one step further. A lot of us, and I've said this before, we do have that complex thinking that we are perfect, and we all have improvements, myself included. I'm not exempt. We do have to work on our corrections. It's like he said, if we think we're perfect, nothing will ever change in our situation to get worse and worse. So yes, Ray, you are spot on the money once again.
And this is why I like to do broadcasts with people who are honest, because a lot of us are not honest. And I've often said this: we're hurting ourselves when we lie to ourselves, when we delude ourselves. We're hypocrites. And this is why we are in the situation that we're in. Raymond says that's envy, jealousy is you, fear that can take what you have. Yeah, we're worried about somebody trying to get something when we should be concerned about our own selves. Sister Gloria says what, Chaz?
She says you have to put in the work and be mindful about your behaviors and willing to change.
That's it.
Spot on as well.
The willing part, Chaz. See, we make it sound so easy. All you gotta do is this. But a lot of us lack the fortitude, the mental fortitude. We don't have what's in our hearts to do what we're supposed to do. And when we listen to people like you and I who are practical, you know, we're not so deep, so lofty. We're saying basic things that people need to know, but these people don't want to be willing, as the sister says. And here's what I've been saying all evening, which I can't stress enough. She says this: we need to be honest, Chaz. We need to be honest, and then not only be honest, but you got to work on it. Because a lot of us will say, as I said earlier, we'll say, I procrastinate too much. Okay. And then 5 years from now, we say, I procrastinate too much. That means you haven't worked on it, you see. Right. And this is why we are in the situation that we're in.
Yes, Sister Nucci on here. She says, peace and blessings. We appreciate her for coming in as well. Sister Gloria says, it is within ourselves.
Yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. You can't wait for no genie to drop down and give you 3 wishes. See, and the Ray says the same thing. I have to go to the God within me. So, and these comments that we're having is just excellent, because we're talking about the cover-ups. We said lying is one way to cover it up. Here's another cover-up:
sugarcoat our shortcomings. It's not that bad. And I want to sing a quick song of a brother that's notoriously known for this, and I want to push back on him a little bit. He told us a long time, every little thing is gonna be all right. No, it's not. I mean, it's not, and I'm not gonna lie, I got caught up in that when I heard that song years ago, and I felt good. I almost wanted to start crying. But when you look back at those lyrics, brother, everything is not going to be all right. These things get out of control. We can't even control it anymore. And before you know it, it's stacked on top of us and we somewhere dead. So I want to push back on that, brother, in peace. No, it's not. That is a lie.
It's a lie. And I'm glad you brought that out, because we always look for the pie in the sky, or so-and-so lives happily ever after. We caught up in that stuff. Every little thing is not going to be all right. Many of us are broke. Many of us have mental issues. Many of us have personal issues. Many of us have psychological issues. Many of us have health issues. Many of us are crazy, and we don't want to do what we have to do. And this is why we sugarcoat our shortcomings by saying it's not that bad, Chaz. You know, everybody goes through this. What about this next sugarcoat?
Letter C. Denial. No one is perfect. We all have issues, and we do all have issues. We have to come clean about that. And Brother Raymond was spot on in his earlier comments. He said that as well. Basically, that if we think that we're perfect, we'll gloss over all our issues, go through life thinking nothing is wrong, and then before you know it, we get at a certain age, and all kind of stuff starts flooding in. So yes, you cannot be in denial about your shortcomings. Address it and handle it the best way you can, and don't sugarcoat it.
This is Adults Only. That's Chazz. I'm your big brother, Jahi. Tonight's subject is a journey of self-improvement. This is the second broadcast. And we thank all of you for watching this broadcast, because it's important that you look within your own self as I look within myself. And I need to change those things. This is why these liars say this, Chazz. Every December around that time, they make these resolutions. How's that going? How is that going now, Negro? I mean, how is that going now?
Come on, brother. You stepping on some toes now.
How is that going now? The very thing that we said back then, we're still doing. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop cussing. I'm going to stop letting people use me. I'm going to start doing this. And we're doing in fact, it's worse now than it's ever been. And so we use this as a cop-out. No one is perfect. Well, we know that. But why? You mean to tell me that you're not willing to work on your own shortcomings when you know, and I know, that we have issues? And this is why this discussion has to be had, because a lot of us, y'all, we don't really want to get into how to correct the problem, which they've already told us the correction is within.
Yes. And Brother Ray comes back at us. He says, we must obey the parent in us, our conscience, instead of trying to be grown. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's right.
Become a perfect sociopath. He's joking with us on that one, but he's spot on again. And then this is Bob Marley, Three Little Birds.
Yeah, and I mean, those songs are songs to make us feel good. Everything is not going to be all right. And we're not talking about our brother Bob, because we love our brother Bob. You know, we know that that's an ancestor. We adore what he's done in the conscious community. But some of us take that to heart. And this is why we struggle, because most of us are in denial. We don't want to admit. I will admit to you all, I don't care who you are watching this broadcast. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't already know, I got a lot of problems.
Yes.
And I need to work on myself. Now, I'm not where I used to be, but I need to work on those things. And I know what they are. See, I don't need to lay on your couch and pay you for you telling me what I need to do. I know what I need to do. If I'm always late, get my lazy butt up and get somewhere on time. If you're supposed to watch a broadcast, get your lazy, I want to say lazy A, but get up and turn on a broadcast that's going to teach you how to be better. You see, here's another Kobe shortcoming. Go ahead, Chazz. Keep just jumping this thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say for myself, it's included, because I know I talk a lot. I run my mouth on this broadcast, and myself included. I have shortcomings. I'm not perfect, so I want to put myself out there as well, because I'm sure there may be a person or two may think, oh, these two think they know everything. I know I don't, and I try to do the best I can.
And even that's a cop-out, because if they're listening to this and they're mature in heart, and they see that we're talking about humanity, see, and for them to take that attitude, it shows me that they haven't grown up yet. This is a self-improvement course lecture for all of us. And you notice that we're talking about ourselves more than anybody else, what we got to do. See, this is the difference in going to a spiritual meeting or going to a church or going to a mosque, because they make you think that somebody else going to take that away from you. No, we have to own our own issues, Chazz. And this is another problem that we have with the cover-up, diversion. We're willing to put anything else before our own self-improvement. Let me say this, and I want you to talk about this. Okay. Most of us are very selfish. Let's be honest. Most of us are very selfish, but we're not selfish in the right area. What do you mean, brother? I mean this. For we never turn our selfishness inwards on our own self to help our lives. That's heavy. We're selfish, but we're selfish in the wrong area. Instead of being selfish to turn our lives around to help our own selves, we're selfish because we want. We don't want to do anything to help our own selves. And that's the indictment I have on you. That's the indictment I have on me. That's the indictment I have on all these people watching this broadcast. And believe you me, Chazz, these truths that we're saying is to help us become better people.
Yes, yes. And like you said earlier, it says willing to put anything and everything else before our own self-improvement. It goes back to what you mentioned earlier, brother, procrastination. We keep putting all this stuff in front. We keep putting it on the back burner. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. And it never gets done. So I think the procrastination goes hand in hand with this diversion segment. You can't really separate them. Brother Ray's on again. He says, being selfish leads to missing out on things. Yes,
It does.
absolutely.
It really does. And so here's what Gloria said. Sister Gloria said this earlier, but now we're going to get into it a little bit more. She mentioned this and I mentioned it. So let's talk about this next diversion. Here it is.
Honesty, not being truthful about working on ourselves. And I said this a little bit earlier too. Not being honest about working on ourselves, thinking that we're perfect, thinking that there's nothing else to improve, even though you may have mastered a couple things in life. You may be sharp on at least 2 or 3 things, but we just gloss over everything else. We think that nobody, and listen to, brother, I'm going to say this real quick and I'll pass it to you. We hate to be corrected. Instead of saying, you know what? You do lie a lot, brother. Not calling you out in front of a lot of people, but on the phone or on a text message. We take that personal. So, yes, we hate to be corrected. And I'll pass the floor to you.
Okay, and I'm going to take it and say this about that. We're not being truthful about ourselves. We know in our hearts that we have some serious problems. A lot of our problems are emotional. They're psychological. They're health related. A lot of our issues are with us. And instead of us doing what we need to do, we lie about that. We are making one of the biggest lies. And here's one of the biggest lies that I've often said. Okay. When I see somebody, Chazz, they say, hey, big brother, how you doing? This is what I lie through my teeth by saying, I'm all right. I'm good. No, I'm not good. If I'm honest, I would say, if you have time, in fact, at least a couple of days, I'd like to share with you. I'd like to share with you.
Come on now, 2 days.
In fact, years, Chazz. For time's sake, if you really want to know how I'm doing, I have, now this is not literal, but I should say I have heart issues. I have blood pressure issues. I have weight issues. I have mental issues. See, now that's how I should ask. That's how I should answer you when you say, how you doing? Instead of me running my mouth talking about, oh, I'm good. No, I'm not good. My children are rotten to the core. In many instances, they're doing things they shouldn't do. I don't have what I need psychologically. I'm not trying to better myself. I'm in a rut. All I do is sit around and stay on social media. All I do is, let's put this thing out there tonight because we want to help people. See, people need to know this. And this is why this thing says honesty is very important because, as they say, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool your own self because you know in your heart that you are struggling with some things, Chazz, and no matter how you smile and laugh and skin and grin and try to make people think you're okay, you know in your heart that you have some problems and you have to start by being honest.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on what you mentioned a few seconds ago. Like you said, we bump into somebody at the Walmart or CVS and they say, how we doing? That is I've never really heard that interaction where people say, you know what, I'm not all right. I got this, and that. We always shift it and talk about everything that's going well. It's ridiculous.
We're hypocrites. And us men, they say, how you doing? And I start talking about, well, you know what the Ravens are doing, the Baltimore Ravens, you know what the baseball team, you know what the boxing team, you know what the golf. So you know what Beyonce, you know what Jay-Z, you know what Cat Williams. So we divert from what we're doing, see, and we become erratic. Here's a question for us, somebody says.
Brother Ray comes at us. He says, why lie when you can just don't say anything?
Yeah, this is how we're made that way. We're made that way. See, we've lied so much. You know, we've lied so many times. It's in us now. So instead of saying, I'm not taking care of myself. So instead of just saying, when you say, hey, Jahi, big brother, how you doing? I should say, Chazz, you know what? I have not worked out in almost 2 years. I'm not taking care of myself. And then you would encourage me, well, big brother, you know you need to do that because you don't want to be found on the side of a house holding your chest, see?
And I
go ahead, Chazz.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, I know we don't do this, but we do have a sister comment named Gloria. She is a perfect lady on here that's been commenting that can help you in that department. If there's people on here struggling with exercise, go check her out. She's got an easy, cheap membership that you should be able to afford if you are having health issues. So get in contact with Gloria Brown.
Black sister, see, and this is what it's all about. Raymond says, all positive all the time is unrealistic. He's right. Because we want everybody to think that we're okay all the time. How you doing? I'm doing fine. How you doing? I'm doing great. No, how you doing, big brother Jahi? man, I'm not even getting enough water. I might have to go on dialysis because I'm not drinking enough water.
Oh
Because
man.
I'm eating too many. I'm eating too many sweets. See,
Yeah.
we don't like the naked truth. We want somebody that's famous to get on a social media, a podcast platform. We want them to lie through their teeth to make us feel good. Well, this broadcast and many others, but we know for a fact this broadcast is to help us, man, because a
Yes.
lot of us are struggling. And that's we don't want to deal with this. Go ahead, Chazz.
And I'll just say real quick, the only time we are really honest, brother, about something that's tragic when it's obvious. For example, we have a brother named Steve in our family. This is just an example. He got in a terrible car crash, and we see his auntie at the store or something. They say, well, how's Chris doing? Oh, yeah, that car crash has him paralyzed. Okay, we will be honest about certain things like that that's life-altering. But just, people we haven't saw, like you said, in years, we don't keep it 100% with them. We love to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, this is true. Here's what Sister Gloria says. I like to be corrected so I can work on that. Now, I haven't heard that in a long time because most of the time people correct me and I'm angry, or I'll say, don't worry about me.
Right. Or we'll speak to that person again because we felt like you disrespected their integrity. I'm like, brother, come on. Not you, I'm just in general, bro. Come on.
This is some heavy stuff. We might have to continue this, Chaz, but what this say?
She comes back and says, but we need to be positive. You can't say I'm okay, but I'm still working on myself. Absolutely, 100%. You can,
yeah, but
like
okay. But let's look at that though, Chaz. Let's look at that. No, you can say you okay, right. But if you're not okay, this is why I'm jumping when I say not. See, this is a problem within the African American community. Right. Sister Gloria is not saying this, but I'm talking about us by and large. We always want to say we're doing okay. We're not doing okay. What's wrong with me telling you the truth? There's nothing wrong with the truth. See, we talk about it all the time. Just tell me the truth. And we don't want to be honest because we want to put that foot forward. Now, there are things that we're doing okay in. So I may say to you, when you say, Jahi, how you doing? I say, well, Chaz, in this area, I'm really working on it and I'm doing fine. But there's a flip side to this thing, see?
Right.
And this is the side we don't want to talk about. And this is why most of the people on this broadcast, like Raymond, Sister Gloria, they should be putting on these notes in the comments, I need to work on myself. Because they know they do, but you see a hypocrite hide behind a cell phone. They'll hide behind a social media post. They'll always post like they're doing great when they know they're not. And so we can't have a serious discussion because we don't want to offend anyone. Well, damn it, I don't care who's offended. I'd rather offend you so that you can do what you need to do, so that I can do what I need to do, so that we can become better people. That's the main goal tonight.
Right. Brother Ray comments, he says, they ask you how you doing and you share difficulty you're experiencing. Sadly, they will stop you and say, if it ain't positive, I don't want to hear it. Absolutely. Especially the black people, they always say, well, if you don't have anything good at all, if you don't have anything good to say, then don't say it at all. That's a cop out, like he said in his comment. And he's just showing people up. I appreciate that comment, Ray.
Here's another cover up.
Brother F says, inactivity. Most of us don't put in the work required to self-improve. Like I said, we sit back. We just hope that these problems magically go away. We hope that one day we wake up and they're gone. And I think a lot of us, brother, we're lazy. We refuse to put in the work. We hate to put in the work. And like I said, a lot of us, and I believe this, a lot of us, we want handouts. We don't want to put in the work.
Chaz, come on, man.
We don't want to put in the work to actually improve, myself included in some instances.
And so this is what I'm saying. Many of us, and I want to be really clear in what I'm saying now. What it boils down to is accountability. We don't want to be accountable to our own selves.
Right.
And this is why we're not committed to change for all the right reasons. Let me tell you what I'm saying.
Okay.
The reason that most of us don't want to self-improve, you can tell it. Now, those who say that they're spiritual, many of them, they don't go to any kind of uplifting type of place that's going to teach them. Many of these so-called spiritual gurus, they don't want to do anything. We don't want to do anything. These Muslims, we don't want to do anything. So we sit around, we become old, we get caught up in our ways, our habits, and then when we get older, it's difficult to break that it's difficult to break that cycle because we're
Yes.
doing the same thing. And when you hear two guys like us, instead of listening to us saying, I got to change, we don't want to hear it. And as a result, our children follow in our same footsteps. Our grandchildren, listen, these kids see what we're doing. We can listen, we can play all we want to, but these kids see what we're doing. And this is why people don't want to improve. This is why men are the same. Women are the same. Women break up with men. Men break up with women. Husbands divorce wives. Wives divorce husbands. All because someone does not want to improve.
Yes. And I kind of want to take a pot shot. Not at all the elders, but a lot of them. I'm talking about the elders 60, 70 and up. Like you mentioned, they get stuck in their ways. And it's not, I think some of the elders feel like, especially a younger person, they feel like, well, they're trying to show me up, or this person trying to correct me. I've been living on this earth longer than you. You have to be open for stuff. I just cannot stand when you cannot talk to an elder and they feel like because they've been on the earth for so many years, you can't tell them nothing and they refuse to change, brother. And I know you've encountered some people like that, and it's frustrating because it's like you got a wall up, and after so long, you just say, what the heck? You stop talking to them because you see you're not getting anywhere.
Guys, let me tell you something. Something is seriously wrong with an individual that has given up on wanting to better themselves. And these are people in your family. These are people in my family. These are people in all of our audience's family. They don't want to work on themselves. And instead of talking like you and I are talking, people want to make them feel good. Well, don't worry about it. Just give them time. He's 97 or 99 years old now. How much more time do you need to give him? Or give her? Brother. I'm serious, because there's got to be this kind of love talk. Because I want these people on this broadcast to say, I watched the broadcast, a podcast called Adults Only. And now I'm going to seriously work on myself. I'm not going to wait till December to say a lie about a resolution because I'm so brainwashed, knowing I'm not going to do it. I want my Hispanic brothers and sisters. I want them to look at themselves and say, I'm going to sit down and look at the areas of my life that I need to change. And then I want to start working on it. Then I want to assess it. I want the African Americans. I want all of us to sit down and look at this and take it one step at a time, because a lot of us have lied for so long. We don't want to put in the work. And so we are inactivity. We're inactive. We do nothing but sit around, watch TV, here, smoke dope, talk about stuff. It's really crazy, man. It really is crazy.
And I just take it one step further, like you mentioned about the self-improvement on the New Year's Eve, when we say how we're going to stop doing X, Y, and Z. I'll say it like this, brother. I believe some of us have the right idea, but when we run into a brick wall, instead of saying, how can I get over this hump, or how can I finally break down this wall, instead of us thinking of a different strategy, we throw our hands up and just quit altogether. And some of us just like, we don't know how to fight through the adversity. I'll put it that way.
That's true.
Brother Ray comments, he says, when I'm going through life struggles, let me slow down. When I'm going through life struggles, I do all I can that day. Then when I lay down, I tell myself, I've done all I can do today, and will do all I can tomorrow and go to sleep. Absolutely. This is practical.
That's practical. And Sister Gloria, she says she agrees on something we've said. Then she fired back at us with this one.
I had family members did not want to change. I was always telling them, you have to work on yourself.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. See, and if you don't change, and I'm telling you, or I'm suggesting to you, it's not my fault. If you want to die an old fart, if you want to die an old soul,
you out of control.
If you want to die a grown man who doesn't know how to put his time in, if you want to die a man who procrastinates and you're old as Methuselah, then that's your business. We're saying you don't have to die that way. I don't have to die that way. See, we don't even have to choose to be that way. And so let's look at a note here. Here's a note, Chazz. What does this note say?
No, we all should want to reform our lives, since we know how we are.
Chazz, you know how you are, Chazz. You know how you are, Chazz. Now, and I know how I am. And this is what I like about this journey of self-improvement. Chazz, you don't have to go to any building to be told how you are. Right. Now, if you want to go, that's fine. I
Right.
don't have to go anywhere. I know in my heart that I need to stop doing A, B, C to however many more alphabets I go to. So
Right.
I don't need nobody to tell me this. So I should want to reform. You see, I should want to make the world better. I teach my students this all the time, every day. You've got to change. You're going to change. But you see, I give them a little pass only because, as I often said, they're young, they're not mature, they're going through life, they're learning. But what about us old heads who say we've been there and done that and haven't learned from it? We should, we should want to reform our life. We should want to change, Chaz. And so
Right.
it's like we're begging. I'm begging you. You're begging me. We shouldn't have to do that. We should know that time is winding up. And
Yes.
we should want to leave this earth better people. But because of social media, because
Uh-oh.
of music, because of entertainment, because of sports, because of all of these things that we have allowed to fester in our hearts, we don't want to change because we're too busy looking out. And that's why people don't want to watch these kind of broadcasts. But the kids, our grandkids, we're struggling, man. We're
Yes.
struggling big time.
And I was going to add it just a step further. I would say when we are self-improvement and constantly reforming our lives, as it says on the screen, the people who are around us will probably mentally say this. They may not always say, and let me just say this real quick. Just because somebody doesn't give you accolades or give you credit, don't think that they don't see what you're doing. They're probably taking mental notes, and they may say, you know what? Just because how this brother is reforming and changing his life, I want to be like that. But because they don't tell us, we get angry or we feel like nobody sees it. Some people do see a lot of this. They just choose not to say nothing. But this can spread to others and help them motivate them once we see how we change our lives as well.
The mind, in many instances, the mind has been so damaged, and we want to bring the mind back because we all need this. But the mind has been so damaged through all of the years of the hustle and the bustle of life, the racism, all of the things that we had to endure and continue to endure. These things have played a traumatic role in our hearts. And a lot of us don't want to sit down and say, I need to change for my own self. A lot of times the people used to say back in the day, I want to change for my children. That's not good enough anymore, you see.
Yeah.
And this is why we are in the condition that we're in.
Ray writes, she says, you meet a high school friend you haven't seen since high school, and they say, and they are still the same as they were in high school. So disappointing.
It really is. I told you last week, Chaz, you remember we meet some people and they say, hey, I ain't seen you in 15 years. You still cussing like a sailor. And the person says, I ain't going to change. You know me.
Right.
Like that's something to be proud of. That
Right.
shows that we have not matured. But we don't want to have this discussion because a lot of us, we get hurt so easily with words as opposed to looking at our lives and say, these two guys, they're telling us the truth. They're putting themselves in this situation because we know that we're not perfect. They rather go to a place with a person with a clergy collar on, or a person with a dashiki on, or a person with a robe on, or a person with some incense, or a person, they want to go to these places because these people can say magical incantations and they make you feel good. And these incantations make you feel that you have arrived when in actuality, you're so far behind. It's a shame.
Brother, I'm sorry. Sister Gloria writes, I'm always working on myself. One thing I work on is for me, not letting someone upset, and I give them my energy. I used to let people upset me, but I wanted to change that, and I did.
Good. That's beautiful. Now that's great. See, this is what we want to talk about. Here's another brother. Raymond says, good time, Charlie Blues. Now here's something that looks like this is a brother. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to just look at, he says all this, know yourself. He says, is an eternity, I should say. We are the eternity. Our ancestors, bloodlines, our ancestors are the force, and they are with us, etc., etc. The power, your words, know the power, your body. He goes on. So he's encouraging us to say, he's saying, look within yourself, woman and man, and find out those things that we can change because we have the power within us. We have the spiritual ability to change that. And he's just going on and on. He won't stop. In fact, he's on fire right here. He's talking about Ra.
He's got a good
energy. He's so excited. But you see, a lot of us, we hide behind these doggone, I almost said we hide behind these cell phones.
Brother, come on now. You are coming uncut.
We are a sick people, man. We are a sick people, many of us.
Brother
and this
Ray
is why we are cursing.
Yeah, and I was gonna say to the other brother who had the long rant, he had a good rhythm going. Brother Ray says sometimes anger is logical. Yes, it is logical, but brother, not Ray, just in general, why can't we have anger and sometimes just be quiet about it? Why do we have to explode? Why do we have to show someone up? Why do we have to cuss somebody out for the whole neighborhood to hear? That's the only part I have a frustration with, especially with the anger category, especially as blacks. We don't know how to control that anger, brother. It's a shame.
Because we have not been taught how to treat each other. Anytime that I kill you because we at a party and we listen to the music and I'm drinking and you smoking and you step on my shoes that cost me $300 and you put a little smudge on my shoes and I go see that you put a mark on my shoes and you didn't say, excuse me. So I go to my car. I know this is extreme. I go get my gat. I come back and I blow your brains out all because you stepped on my shoes. This is a sick mentality. And so what we're saying is these types of things shouldn't happen. They shouldn't happen. But unfortunately, they do, because this note says self-improvement is important because most of us don't have control over our emotions. Now, that right there, I just mentioned that.
I just said it too.
Our emotions. we don't like to talk about our emotions. See, this is better than church. This is better than the mosque. This is better than a spiritual meeting. This is two brothers who don't have much, but has a heart of gold that want to share with us, that want to let you know that your children, my children, all of us are in the same boat. And we need to take a journey of self-improvement. And so this is what we're saying. We must look at our lives and we have to work on ourselves because we cannot be, as I'm going to say now, and I'm going to let you have this, because many of us are consumed. I want you to deal with this, Chazz. We can't work on ourselves because we're consumed with all of our affairs, and namely our grown children. We're so stressed out. Everything is our children, and we know that our children sometimes go through issues, and we all do. But this is what we do now. We take on all of that. And so we can't improve ourselves because I'm too busy worried about you. I'm worried about my niece. I'm worried about my nephew. I'm worried about my mama. I'm worried about my daddy. I'm worried about my aunt. I'm worried about my uncle. And so we're so confused. This has gotten out of control. And this is why we are the way we are. And instead of saying, I'm going to stop this, we say it, I'm going to stop it. But as soon as something happens, it's back in the saddle again.
Absolutely. And it's like, in a nutshell, brother, it's like we are trying to put out so many fires, and that is a recipe for disaster. It's okay to check up on our loved ones from time to time. We can't be consumed by that, because once you get consumed by it, you're asking for high blood pressure. You're asking for a stroke. You're asking for something wrong. And once again, I'm not coming down on anybody that could be listening to this saying that that they are, constantly checking after their loved ones. But like you just mentioned in your rant, how we're just going all over the world and not looking at our own selves. And before you know it, we're laying up in a doggone hospital room because of something we've neglected.
Yeah, we're obsessed. We're possessed. We're consumed. We're preoccupied. We're eaten up. We're dominated by. We're fixated on others. We're just so preoccupied with other people and their lives. We don't have time enough for ourselves. And this is why a lot of us can't. This is why a lot of us can't improve, because we're too busy looking at everybody else's business as opposed to saying, what do I need to do to become a better person? I'm going to let you ask this question, and then we have a couple of comments. But here's a question, Chazz.
How to improve oneself, or how to embrace your authentic true self? Number one, I would say, do a self-critique of your actions, emotions, or ways in which your life needs improvement. Go ahead, because I forgot what I was just going to say. I had a quick thought, but go ahead. I'll let you take this one.
Do a serious critique of your actions as I do of mine, your emotions as I do of mine, or ways in which your life and my life needs to improve. You sitting there on this broadcast, and I love every one of you. I truly do.
Right.
You're sitting on this broadcast, and you know in your heart, just like I know in my heart, I got some things that I need to change. I know this. No preacher, no pope can pour water on my head, touch me on the forehead. No spiritual guru can take an ankh and touch me on my glasses with that ankh. No spiritual guru in Islam can take a crescent cross, a crescent moon, and say magical incantations. We know that we have problems. And grown men supposed to be of valor, and women, grown people, we won't do a serious critique of our actions to save our lives. And so we go around and we die. We die with all unresolved issues in our lives because we're too lazy and we're too lethargic to look at our own lives and say, I've been lying for so many years. How do you fix that? Start telling the truth. Right. I've been procrastinating for so many years. How do you fix that? Stop procrastinating. I've been jealous for so many years. How do you fix that? Stop being jealous. See, we want these people that we're going to pay all this money to help us when we can do the basic things that we need to do.
I was going to say, brother, if you could go back to the previous one about the authentic self, because that's what I really want to touch on. Let's see here, how to embrace your authentic self. That's what I was going to say. Yes, the authentic self. Be who you are. Be who you are meant to be. Because
you
here's the problem,
James?
Brother.
You ain't no LeBron James? You're not LeBron James or Steph Curry?
No, I said people may feel like that when they're playing basketball, but I'm saying as we work on ourselves spiritually, mentally, the problem that we have is we are so obsessed with what other people think of us. We are obsessed with our relatives think. Instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can. I need to improve for myself. We are always obsessed with what they think. And if we don't measure up to how they feel or how they should feel about us, that's why we go to the extreme and try to do all this extra stuff, because we're trying to live up to what they want us to be instead of being who we are for our own good.
And you sound like a selfish little boy when you say that. And this is what I mean, but you're telling the truth. Because when we're young and we're in school, we try to be like other people. Johnny has this, so you want to be like that. Susie has this, so you want to be like that. And so we start this thing and we don't fix it at a young age. And now that we're older, we don't know how to work on the true self, because the question is, who are you? Who am I? See, these are some deep questions that has to be answered. And most of us don't know who we are. See, we don't look at the inside. We look at the outside, even the names that we have. The names, these are just names that we're given to identify us. But a name is not your true self, you see. And so this is why these discussions, they go unattended, because so many of us have not ever been challenged to work on the real you. Quit trying to be. I've seen on this social media sometimes they had a guy that looks like Steph Curry. He walks like Steph Curry.
You're not gonna let that one go, are you?
I'm gonna let it go because, and they said, man, you look like Steph Curry. So now he's starting to wear that jersey. So wherever he goes, people say you're Steph Curry. So in his mind, he feels that way, but he has lost his identity in another man. He's lost his identity. Some of our sisters want to be like Beyonce. They want to be like Nicki Minaj, but they've lost their identity. Some of us brothers want to be like Steve Harvey, Cat Williams. We've lost our identity, and this is why we're having so many issues, man.
And I'm not gonna lie, I get caught up in that. And me and you joke about this when I'm doing my little exercise playing basketball. I may joke and say that I'm Jaylen Brown or one of these things. That's just all a joke. But like you said, a lot of us take that personal. Like you said, we do want to be Steve Harvey. We do want to be LeBron. And we have to understand this is just an entertainment for most of those guys, and we have to be satisfied with ourselves. Sister Gloria comments, she puts, so true. It is within us.
She won't let it go, and I'm glad she's not. She is riding a horse, and she will not get off that horse, and I don't blame her. Because it goes back to how simple can we make this? See, people, us, when I say people, we want this magical incant. We want something that rub the lamp and the genie will give us 3 wishes. We want some hocus pocus. We want some magical incantations to help us. You're the answer to your problems, man. I'm the answer to my problems. Sister Gloria says this too.
We have to learn to let go and love ourselves.
Man, Chazz, I cannot believe this time has stopped. It has almost basically, we're just about done. It really, and we still have people commenting. See, and this is what I like about this broadcast. Can we come back next week and conclude it? Because this will be the 3rd week and it's hot tonight. But let's look at these comments.
Brother Ray puts, either you allow anger to be destructive or you use it for constructively. Yes, and I was just gonna say, let's see, too much patience is cowardice. I was gonna say, we do appreciate you guys interacting with us because you notice, brother, when they all comment like this, it does make the broadcast go by. So yes, once again, we do appreciate all the comments that's come in. And next week we do want to retouch this up one more time because, brother, there's still a lot we didn't get a chance to touch up on.
And a lot of people, you know, we watch these broadcasts, they won't even read your comment. And I know sometimes you can't because you got million viewers. We don't have a million viewers. But you see, a lot of us are too chicken to put a comment on here because we know that we're struggling. We won't say, I have to work on myself. We won't say that when we know we have issues. Sister Gloria says, I have things I'm working on at this time. She says, I have a fear of flying, so I'm working on that. See, this is transparency, Chazz. This is what I like about this broadcast. We are people who are just real. And this is what I like about people who are honest. But there are many hypocrites. They're not going to say anything because they know in their hearts they're not the person that they think they are. But I was being honest. Go ahead, Chazz.
Okay, before I read Brother Ray's comment, I want to say that too. Sister Sharon, Brother Ray, and Brother Gloria. They are not afraid. They have put themselves out there numerous of times, and they've talked about what they're afraid of for the world to see. So we appreciate them for actually having the courage to do that.
We really do.
Brother Ray comments, so he says, Gloria, I fear heights greatly, but I love flying on a plane. That's good. You guys were commenting. Airplane, I meant. Absolutely. But yeah, they like I said, Sister Sharon, Ray, and Sister Gloria, they all put themselves out there. We put ourselves, and this is what this is about. It's not about trying to outdo the next man or woman. It's about putting ourselves out there, not being afraid of what we are, not being afraid of what we're lacking in, and trying to self-improve and upgrading our lives the best way we can.
This is the last note we're going to read, and we'll shut it down after this and say our final words because we still have so much to talk about, and I'm excited that people are serious about what's going on. And I'm being honest tonight because we have to duplicate positive routines to enhance your daily life and productivity. In other words, all those positive things in our lives, we should keep doing those. Don't stop. Right. I know sometimes we get tired doing the same old good thing over and over again, calling people older than us. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Always opening the door for sisters, always respecting someone, always when we get angry, at least talking like we're talking now. See, sometimes we get tired and every now and then we want to just throw the baby out the window or we want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, you know what, I'm done. But I'm so glad that we have a few people, and you've often said this, if it's just a few people that's saying the positive things that's going to help change their lives, it's worth us doing this broadcast because we don't have many followers, but the ones we do have, they're serious, they're committed, and we have to continue to help each other because their comments help you, their comments help me. This is reciprocal. See, this is not one man in a clergy collar telling you what to do. This is not one man with an ankh or with some sage telling you what to do. See, these are people, everyday people, and so we have to keep duplicating the positive routines. How important is that, Chazz, to keep duplicating these positive routines?
It's very important. And like I talked about a few minutes ago, when we do go through that brick wall, go through adversity, instead of saying, you know what, I quit, it's getting too tough, I don't want adversity. Here's the thing. Adversity helps makes us better. I know that sounds cliche, but it does. What you get through and once you finally break that wall down, you come on stronger than ever. So for the people who are listening, when you do go through adversity, don't give up, keep going, keep striving. And when you don't understand something, don't be afraid to ask or get advice from other people.
See, this is a motivational speech. See, we're not Les Brown and all these people that's charging you $1 million to go see them and tell you the same thing that you already know. See, we've been hoodwinked, as Malcolm said. We've been bamboozled. So we rather go pay a celebrity that's going to tell us what we already know. And instead of us saying, you know what, I knew I had that problem, we're going to put that celebrity on a pedestal because we're weak-minded. And what's inside of us is not working. Sister Gloria says something.
Sister Gloria says, we help in the community, even in my gym. We help one another. And I mentioned that earlier for anybody who's having health difficulties. If you are able to walk, you are able to jump, go see this sister. She can help you get in shape and for a reasonable amount. Sister Gloria's gym is excellent. Go check her out.
Yeah, that's the gym I go to in San Antonio, Texas. I'm telling you now, she has a heart of gold, man. Her heart is big. She
That's
will help
good.
anyone because she knows it's not about her. And she shared with me many occasions, that it's not about her. She's
Right.
always trying to help other people.
Right. Brother Ray says, be you no matter how others want you to be, like everyone else. Absolutely. I touched on that a little bit earlier too. Brother Ray comes back again. He says, trust in your goodness to grow goodness. Sister Gloria says, I minister every day in my gym.
She
That's
sure
good.
does. She
That's
got her
good.
own little, and sometimes I'm working out and I just listen to her. When people come in and they say what they're going through, she listens to them, and then she doesn't always tell them what to do, but she has empathy for them. And then she'll even suggest little things. She doesn't come in and say, well, like most of us, well, this is what I did. Because what you do may not work for me. What I do may not work for you. But she's always listening to people. And we're gonna have to stop these comments because it's already been an hour, Chazz, and they still firing away.
Brother Ray's joking with you on this. He says, Javi at the gym, bench pressing 300. Ray, don't hype his head up, Ray, because he already thinks he's tough. Don't hype him up, Ray.
Hey, he better take one of those zeros off of that 300. That's more likely right there. Yeah, we appreciate people, man, that's honest about life, because that's what it's all about. We have to help each other. So, Chazz, let me say some words, and then I'll let you say some words, and we'll get out of here. And what I want to say to everybody is, we truly appreciate you watching this broadcast. Absolutely. And we know that you could be somewhere else, but we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch this broadcast and to also say some things that's going to uplift somebody else, because it's always about how can I be of assistance to myself and to others.
Yes.
So we want to be an assistance to all of you. If you have a subject you want us to do, why don't you message us and we will look into it and we'll do it. And we thank you for tuning in to this Adults Only every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Tell a friend. And this place should be packed because we're not charging you anything. Right. So we're just letting you know that be honest, because hypocrisy, being a hypocrite, it's going to catch up with us all sooner or later. So when we say we don't do something and we start doing it, that's an indication that we're running our gums and not really doing anything about it. So I'm telling you now, Chazz, we appreciate all you people who have tuned in. As we're going off, we'll put the comments on as they come up. We're not going to comment on them. We're just going to show them and go. It's time to get out of here, y'all. We're going into overtime tonight. So, Chazz, talk to the people. And when you get done talking to the people, we'll get out of here, man.
Yes, I'll just go ahead and piggyback off of what this brother just said. We do appreciate every viewer, every comment. You all have been on here, listened to us, try to help. And yes, we appreciate every comment. You could be anywhere else, but you chose to stick with us and listen to what we had to say. So we honestly appreciate that. But yes, tonight's broadcast is about self-improvement. Do this for yourself. Nobody else, not your uncle, not your auntie, not your mom, not your brother. Do this for yourself, because at the end of the day, when we close our eyes, this is the only person that we need to try to satisfy as ourselves, not anybody else. When you are lacking in something, don't be afraid to look at it and address it. Don't procrastinate it. Don't be afraid to address it, and do the best you can. Do the best you can. Last but not least, next week, we will be touching this up again. We had an excellent time.
Yes,
we will be touching up this one more time next week. So we hope you guys come back with us next week as we can finish this outstanding broadcast, because I surely had a good time tonight, and I cannot believe that this time is done. I appreciate you too, brother, for having me on the broadcast as always.
All right. Chazz and I are going to get out of here now, and we appreciate all of you for watching this. Tell a friend next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Don't procrastinate. Be here, because we start on time. This is not like church. We don't have CP time. We just tell it like it is, because we want you and your children and our grandchildren and all of us to be better people. So Chazz and I are a part of a group that's called Cries from the Womb. It's he and I. And we have music that we've done. We have 2 albums that's out already. But this next song that you're going to hear as we go off the scene, it's a song called Higher Frequency. So you have to vibe. In other words, you have to be a person who knows how to take your energy and defeat all of the foes that's trying to stop you. So having said that, on behalf of Chazz, we're going to leave you with our song called Higher Frequency. Shem Hotep to all of you. We love you, and we'll see you guys on next.
Come on, y'all. Yes, we gotta get your frequency much higher. Dig. Come on. Tell them what we spitting here, big brother. That higher frequency. Those waves.
Your vibe is not that high.
Yeah.
I understand why.
Tell it.
Your wavelength, alright. You're miserable. Bullseye. Can't move. Here's why. Stuck on standby. It's time to vibe. I said vibe. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm subconsciously picking up on the negativity.
Give me that wavelength again.
Interrupted waves, guy.
Don't stop.
Off beat, no supply. Oscillation, beast ride. Confused, don't deny. All is energy, no lie. Your vigor is about to die. Nothing rests, so you can't get by. Everything moves, so where's your vibe? You better vibe. I said vibe. Just what I thought. Negation of energy or light. We ain't playing with y'all. Connect from within.
Dig. What's up, Chazz?
Master energy and master everything.
That wavelength again. Nothing rests. Everything moves and everything vibrates, right? The whole universe quivers, even your pure energy vibrating unseen to the eyesight. You are a part of the universe. This is only your delight. The secrets of the universe is energy, frequency, vibration, day and night.
We talking about the law of vibration.
Dig.
All things vibrate.
That's right, big brother. Get it right here. Energy. Now vibe. Come on, King.
Enjoy life, no jive. Undisturbed waves, third eye.
Ashe.
Frequency now utilized. Select joy and you've revived.
Hotel.
Nothing weakens you. Exercise. All things vibrate in the sky.
Come on, Hotel.
Speak to the universe, your ally. Now vibe.
Y'all better vibe.
Come on, conscious people. I'll say it one more time.
Dig.
Vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your frequency is lofty now. Yup. That's it, y'all.
Uja Seneb.
Vibe.